welcome you to this next edition of the Black Art and Culture Podcast. And I'm excited to, my name is Scott Terry, Mahogany Gallery here located in Racine, Wisconsin. I'm excited to have our newest guest here with us today, phenomenal artist and brother by the name of Tim Short. So we're going to be rapping with Tim today about his work and his journey, and just learn more about this new emerging up and coming artist. So welcome, Tim.
What's happening, good people? What's happening?
Right on. I want to welcome you to the show. I'm excited to have you on and talk about, your background and your journey and kind of how things sort of evolve with your art career. So just so everyone know, I'm actually, Tim and I are relatively new to one another, but, it's the thing about, when good energy connects, it's just a natural thing, and I think that's kind of what experience Tim and I have had, and it's been beautiful to meet this brother, man, and he's done some just amazing, phenomenal work. As you see, I got one of his pieces right behind me here in the gallery. So we actually have 3 pieces of his work here at the gallery. Tim, I just want to ask you, a few questions here. So how did you get started, painting and working on your craft?
I've pretty much been drawing, all my life. I started, watching cartoons, watching anime as a kid, and trying to replicate that. And I have a really good friend of mine who's a great friend of mine to this day. We actually used to draw together and work off each other. And that grew into painting when I was in high school. I was an athlete and I got injured pretty badly, and that took me out, and I was forced to refocus on something else, and I started painting, and it was just it just came naturally to me, and I just was really engaged with it, and I just stuck with it ever since.
Right on. So you said you were at a sports injury that sort of was a catalyst for you to get back into one of your passions. What sport did you play?
Oh man, in high school I played football, I wrestled, and I ran track.
Right on. Okay, I dig it. But let me guess, you were running back or safety, corner.
Yeah.
Right on. See, I played a little ball too back in my day. I was middle linebacker and I played fullback, so I can relate to that lifestyle, that's for sure. That's what's up. So the injury kind of forced you to kind of reflect and learn more about who you are, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's kind of been a sort of a blessing in disguise, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, that was a long time ago, and to me, back then, that was a huge thing for me. I just, it was unlikely that I was going to be able to go to the next level playing sports, and I just hadn't really thought about what else there was for me. And here comes, I was good at a lot of things, but I was just so focused on sports, and then here comes painting, and it's just oh wow, this is it was even more natural than sports was to me, because I wasn't always an athlete. I had to grow into it, and painting was there, and it was a renaissance for me, and I just really grew with it. And then with that patience, I started understanding myself and getting into a in-depth reflection of myself and listening to music and all kind of things. And then everything just culminated into me wanting to be an artist and trying to pursue it.
Yeah, cool. So do you feel so your work has so many different, it's kind of hard to describe. It's really ethereal. It's, a lot of spirituality in the work. It's a lot of introspection. From what I see, in the work, and so you want to speak on that a little bit, so what are you trying to invoke when people connect with your work?
It's definitely spiritual, and as it's funny that the exhibition is called Black Humanity Now. I would say that my work ultimately is about, me coming to grips with who I am and what I am, you know, as I maneuver and move through the world, so it's just all about, whether I am human, like, humanity is something that was really just, granted to Black folks, for lack of a better word. So it's just like, in defining that for ourselves, it's like, do we even want to be that? So that is, just having an understanding or coming to an understanding about that, if it's even possible to understand, and just trying to create work around, just a celebration of Blackness and my people and the people who are around me, who I love, and doing all that, and just having it all come together to like fuel what it is that I do. I mean, it's it's a lot. It's a lot for me to just give, like, the elevator speech. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, definitely like a celestial type thing, but I still want it to be like down home and like understandable.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think one of the things that really stand out to me is that you have the technical execution from a painting skill standpoint. And then when you paint the figures, but then like the backgrounds, these backgrounds are always sort of ominous, but they go together. They work hand in hand. Like this piece behind me, we're gonna talk about that a little bit more in depth. And then, I'm gonna put the graphic of the painting on the screen so there's more clarity. But when you talk about like this piece, there's an ethereal. You see this environment, and you can't really put your finger on this environment, like where this figure is or where they are. But you see that there's like they're connected. The foreground and the background, the figures and the background. So is there an intentional? Is that intentional when you approach it that way, or is it just more of what feels good to you?
For that piece, that was absolutely like intentional. I mean, I feel like when engaging with a figure, I feel like the space the figure is like in, like, I don't want to say submerged, but like, made real in. I feel like that is very important. Like, and I try to like just create, like, I guess, visual metaphors for what I'm trying to say with each piece. So yes, I would say the atmosphere and the space, all that goes hand in hand with, like, the emotion and vulnerability of the figures and the subjects of the paintings.
Sure. So we're talking. Now, the title of this is a series of 3 pieces here that I have attempted to work here at the gallery. You want to speak to the titles of the pieces, and then just a very brief, synopsis of each piece?
Well, the title of the series is a Dark and a Light, and the pieces are just A Dark and a Light 1, 2, and 3. With those paintings, and with a lot of my paintings, actually, I try to like subvert how we view darkness and versus like lightness, and how negative ideas are associated with darkness and Blackness, and positive ideas are associated with lightness and things. So in those paintings, I wanted to show that the subject they're self-portraits, the subject is me, so it's just just a struggle of like how our people weren't made for the light. They weren't, or they weren't made to fit into like white paradigms. So it's just you see in that first one especially like a struggle there, like it's painful. The light it's like overbearing. It's like it's like surveillance, or like just a huge weight like being pressed down onto the figure, and then by the end of the series you see the figure like is returning to, or like investigating their own energy and their own Blackness, and going into that, and that Blackness is starting to grow and like consume or like just devour the entire space. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I wanted that to be like thematic of the work, and just to show that I feel like liberation and freedom is when we understand and step away from white paradigms and like step into ourselves and our own community and you know, our blackness, essentially.
Yeah, I dig it. You know, and that piece you really speak on about the one that's you know, really, you know, you can see that angst and the emotion and the frustration. Like you did an awesome job of really, you know, illustrating that. So people see the work. What I experience when people coming together, they see it and they're just in silence. I mean, they just sit in awe of, because they can relate to that. You know, there's a human connection to that weight, you know, the overbearingness sometimes of, you know, being Black in America, that we have to just deal with every single thing. But we can't just be who we are. We can't just be, you know, human. We have to deal with these things and internalize all this stuff, and still have to go about, you know, our regular day of, you know, doing things of who we are. So that was really that's really powerful, brother. I really love that piece. Talk about a little bit about you know, so we all have challenges as artists. You know, what do you feel artistically or creatively are some of your challenges or something that you're trying to work on or improve?
Oh man, the biggest challenge is getting paid, bro. Trying to keep it on the road. You know, it's you know, as an artist, technically, I am very methodical, I guess, with my approach, and I try to engage, you know, the entire process, you know, systemically. So it's just like, or systematically, I try to, like, you know, create work to a point where I can, you know, get some change for it, you know, or, you know, do things that I can get some change for me, and, you know, put all that, like, reinvest that into myself and, you know, buy supplies, build canvases.
Right.
Just keep it on the road, so, you know, or pay my rent, you know, so, you know, it's just like, you know, eat. So it's just, I feel like ultimately that is by far the greatest challenge with being an artist, and just trying to maneuver through that and find a way to just keep it on the road and just keep it moving, you know. So other than that, I feel like other problems will spawn when that doesn't go according to plan.
Yeah.
That's when you got artist blocks and you got like stuff like that, you know. So ultimately, just, you know, when things aren't moving, like, you know, I'm not working or not getting to work on what I like, or, you know, because, you know, even with commissions and stuff, that's not really what you want to do. You know, when I'm not making the work and saying what I feel like is genuine to me, that can be a challenge as well. But ultimately, I would say that is absolutely the biggest
probably the number one challenge. Yeah. So, you know, that, I think, you know, for in your different context, because this is what you do. You know, this is right. I mean, this is not this is not a hobby, you know, for you or me, for that matter, for either one of us. And I think that's so very true. And I think, you know, for artists who are just starting out, like, they're not thinking about that. You know, they just want to create the work, and that's cool, because we've all been through that phase, right? You know, but you get to a point where you want to level up and, you know, start being, you know, a player in the game, so to speak, you know? So I dig it. That's interesting feedback. So you would say that's even more so than creative blocks, because you did mention that, you know, creative blocks, that's it. That's the number one pressing challenge is getting paid for your work.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say I really experienced creative blocks much, because I feel like if I was left alone, or if miraculously someone just stepped to me and was like, you know, do whatever you want, I'm gonna pay for everything, you know. I mean, you could do whatever you want, you know what I'm saying? So ultimately, like, you have to step away from what you want to do in order to make a way for, like, just to live, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, that is where things like creative blocks and, you know, being frustrated with pieces sometimes, like, you know, I just feel like the paint just won't lay in the way that I want it to lay. And you know, when you're working on something that, or when I'm working from like my imagination or how I envision something to be, that isn't really a problem because, you know, it's easier for me to like just, you know, to deviate from like an initial plan because it's my plan. You know what I'm saying? Like if you got somebody and they telling you, you know, the face gotta look like this, or, you know, they're expecting it to look like that, then it's like extra stress on making sure you're capturing like likeness and, you know, just who that person was and making sure, you know, it's not too much of you in the work, you know,
yeah, sure.
work, you know, so I would say essentially, you know, I don't really experience, you know, creative blocks on my own, like of my own, you know, thankfully, you know, of my own, like, you know, I guess creation or
Sure,
like
I'm doing, yeah, sure. Oh, that's interesting. All right. This is like a question I like to ask. So, do you consider yourself a Black artist, or do you consider yourself just an artist?
Oh, I mean, I don't have no problem being a Black artist. None at all. I mean, I have no real desire to fit into like a wider paradigm or to like, you know, chase, you know, white institutions. So it's just like, you know, I just want to eat, you know, and I just want to make it, you know, so it's like.
Do you eat? Right.
Makes for.
Yeah, that's what's up. Because, you know, it's weird because I've had some Black artists don't call themselves Black artists. And I just thought that was kind of strange because how could you not identify who you are in your work, no matter what type of work it is, because your skin color is one of the things that makes you who you are. It's that cultural piece connected to it. So I just think that's an interesting, you know, question. So I'm going to get your feedback on it. Real quick, we got 2 more things. We're going to wrap this up. So who inspires you?
Like painters?
Just in life, whether you can, and art, who inspires you? So when it's time for you to, you know, you may feel some extra motivation is needed. Where do you go? Where do you turn to? Who helps you keep that, you know, mojo going?
I would say ultimately I get inspired most by music, and you know, I'm a, you know, I don't want to call myself like a music head, but I listen to a lot of music. I collect music. Me and my roommate have a collection of music. Really enamored and just have I guess, an affinity towards collecting and understanding Black music. And, you know, ultimately what I want my work to do is just to make others feel like how I feel. Like it's like that euphoric feeling when I like hear something really good for the first time, or when I hear something that I know, and you know, those mental images and ideas start flowing, and then it's like that euphoric feeling of like inspiration. You know, I just, you know, I would, if anything, that inspires me the most. And then I would say like reading and, you know, comic books and graphic art and art. And or visual art and movies and stuff like that. But it's a lot of stuff. I take in a lot of different media to, you know, push myself and to like figure out like how I want to say what I say, you know.
Yeah, dig it. All right, that's cool. That's cool. So you got a lot of things. You got a lot of influences, right? You got inspiration. That's dope, man. That's beautiful.
You know, hanging around my family, you know, stuff like that, you know, just reaffirming who I am and what I want to say. That is like the most, you know, all things that help me do that, and they do that in different ways. So
right on. So how do you feel? How do you feel the art has shaped you just in life? You know, how do you feel art, your craft, your creativity has shaped who you are as a person?
Oh man, I mean, it keeps me disciplined. You know, it keeps me, you know, on the straight. You know, because if I'm not creating, you know, that's all I do now. You know, so it's just like, you know, it keeps me out of trouble because I can't really separate my time from that, or I'm not going to feel, or I'm gonna feel terrible. So it keeps me disciplined. It keeps me focused. It makes me feel worthwhile. Like when the feeling of accomplishing something like completing like a really big piece that took you like a really long time. That's like a sense of like accomplishment, and like you climb the mountain, you reach the summit. You know what I'm saying? And then there's always the next mountain. It's always the next challenge. It's it reinforces like my critical thinking, because at the end of the day, all it is, it's like answering questions, asking yourself, how I'm gonna do this? How you gonna create this? How you gonna go about, layering the paint? How you gonna go about building this canvas? How you gonna go about like stretching the little money that you have to make it happen? So it's all, it's worthwhile. Like, it can be a hard life, but it's all worth it. And it absolutely has shaped who I am. It's made me be more frugal, definitely. So absolutely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be the same if I wasn't an artist.
That's what's up, man. That's great to hear. I got one more question for you, and then we are going to wrap this up. I think one of the things that I want to touch on real quick. How do you feel about the current state of affairs in Black art specifically, or the Black art market, or just from what your experience has been? How do you, what's your take on that?
Well, I mean, I would still, because I definitely am an emerging artist, so. I can't really say that I've experienced a lot when it comes to, the art world at large. I mean, I consider myself to be a very simple person. I just make what I make. If you like it, that's great. If you don't, that's I can only do that. And I just try to focus on that. But as far as what I see, I mean, I just hope Black artists continue, if they aren't already, they continue to, I don't know if I said that right, but I just wish people would create for Black audiences. So it's like, I feel like it is very important to know who your work is speaking to. I feel like we don't have to teach anybody anything, because, teaching other people outside of us is not helping us, you know what I'm saying? Because they know what they know, they see what we go through. So it's like conversations need to be had with us about what it is we need to do, and what creativity is to us, and strengthening institutions that we make. So I just hope my work is that, and can be that, and can add to that. Following that tradition. I want to have a Black voice and be speaking to Black people always. So.
Right on. That's what's up. All right. Well, I appreciate you. We're gonna wrap this up, Tim. I appreciate you coming and talking with me today on the Black Art and Culture Podcast. We're here at Mahogany Gallery, located in Racine, Wisconsin. If you are in the area, you are welcome to come and see the work of Tim Short, as well as 17 other artists from across the United States. Come on down, come visit. 1422 Washington Avenue. We're located in Racine, Wisconsin, and we are here to support Black artists, and Tim Short being one of them. And thank you again, Tim. Any last words you want to say? You want to send us off with?
Oh man, thank you for having me. Just peace and love, bro. It's all peace and love. I just try to move that way.
Right on.
Trying to move that way too, and
yeah, that's what's up. Right on. All right, Tim. I appreciate you, brother. And that's a wrap for the Black Art and this episode of the Black Art and Culture Podcast. So check out Tim's work. Tim, where can they find you out on social media?
I'm on Facebook, just Tim Short. You'll see me on IG at Cultured Struggle, Cultured struggle. So, you know, I mean, y'all posted my work, so if you can't find it, just find my work and I should be tagged on this.
Right on. Well, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. Everybody else, we'll see you next time on the Black Art and Culture Podcast. My name is Scott Terry, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate you, brother.